Hello and welcome to the Life Pod, hosted by Michael Panay
and Karim Dow, brought to you by MK Enterprises, a community based on discussing life topics and driving continual personal development and growth.
Send through any topics you want covered and be sure to follow and tag us on all social media at MK Enterprises. We hope you enjoy today's episode.
What is going on, MK community? We hope you're well. Welcome back to another episode of the Life Pod. Today we have on Danielle Weber, artist, creator, whatever you like to be called. She's a freak at what she does. She's been in the industry for a very long time, and we are so grateful to have you on. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Thank you.
Cozy in here. I love it.
Yeah, it's
Nice and warm on a cold Melbourne day.
Oh, this weather doesn't make sense.
I don't
In the
know.
mornings, it's freezing, and then by 2 p.m. you got your t-shirt off. It's like hot.
Yeah.
It's just Melbourne, standard.
In a nutshell.
4 seasons in one day.
Lucky you got your tea to keep me going.
Yeah, that's good. Do you want to get straight into it?
Yeah, let's do it. So, one thing that I did say, sort of doing a bit of research on you, is you said that you don't like being on camera, but I feel like so far so good.
Yeah.
And we honestly watched your blooper video, and I literally had it on repeat for like 5 minutes. And you're like, "Hey guys, it's Danielle," and then like you had like the restarting button on your head, and you're just like, you had a complete mental break.
Oh, I've gotten used to being on camera. I used to was like, I'm just going to be one of those artists that just pumps out work and don't have to stand, next to it or be in the forefront of your work. And I was like, yeah, like let's just do that. And then I realized that people like to see the connection between the artist behind the work and the work. And I was like, okay, we're going to have to actually learn how to not drop the C bomb and the F bomb every 2 seconds.
That's literally my life. If you go back to our first 2 episodes, it's disgusting. We had to, it was like a 45-minute episode. We cut it to like half an hour.
You only realize how much you swear when you watch back and you're like,
absolutely.
wow,
And when you have a conversation with someone who doesn't swear, like, I was speaking to a friend of mine and they're like I never do like text. I always either voice message or video because it's just so much easier.
Yeah, same.
And they were like, why do you swear so much? I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I'm not.
So much more expressive.
Facts.
It is.
Facts.
And our first episode, I remember I was editing it and I cut, I'm not joking, about 30 swear words out from him.
Yeah, it's bad.
Oh my God.
But we're better now. We're getting
there. We're getting there.
We're getting
much better.
Personal development. We're here.
Yeah, it is. And that's the thing. Like, I actually don't mind being on camera now. It depends on like who it is and if like who's filming. But
you're a natural. Like you look so natural. You would not think
until you see all the bloopers and how many takes. Like we just went through my footage for like some of the NFT stuff we're doing, and we were just like, there's literally like 300 videos, and then there's like one that we use. It's so bad.
That was literally us recording our intro.
When did you start on camera and getting really, really heavily into it? Like, is it recently?
Yeah, mate. I've done like podcasts back in the day were only really voice recordings, so they didn't have like 400, 500, 600 cameras set up everywhere. But no, I probably like maybe 5 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Started to, and then but it still doesn't, like, it's still hard, and there's still so much, like, you look back, like, I find it hard to watch back videos, and I'm like, oh, this is painful, but
you have
need
to
figure out what you have to work on, and
like Gary Vee
even
says,
saying and and like and all those words, like, you try to really work on your vocabulary. And
I literally just put up a piece of content about that, saying it's like, if you don't try, you'll never know.
No. Or if you don't ask, the answer's always no. It's the same thing. Like, if you don't give it a shot, you actually don't know.
100%.
So, yeah.
So for the very
there you go. I literally just did. She's like, don't say and I was like,
and follow that up with
yeah.
bullshit.
Nah, I think like you gotta be yourself, and if you can, better little things about it, then you're still yourself, and you're not trying to like become someone you're not.
Fine line there between anyway.
Yeah.
That's another story. So for people who don't, I would say the very few people who don't know your work.
Facts.
Do you mind telling us a little bit about?
We should have like a counter.
We're like ding ding. No. I say it all the time. Don't be stressed.
So if you guys don't know, Danielle's teed up with a few famous people.
Oh, nothing big.
No one big. Just Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, one of the biggest movie stars ever. Steve Aoki, one of the biggest DJs in the world. Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Just the go.
Just not the bloke on the wall behind you.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, she just went to his house, like, kicked back. They drank some tea. It was all good.
There you go.
Yeah.
So Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah.
Tell us, sorry, a little bit about your art and how you got into it.
Yeah, cool. So I've been like on this wild ride for about 10 to 12 years. Now I say 10 years ballpark. And I was a very creative kid. I sort of was just drawing everything hands-on, which I sort of lost in my teen years. Not lost, but didn't really.
I remember you saying, sorry to cut you off, in one of your previous episodes that you started painting properly about 8 years old.
Yes.
That's so young. Like,
yeah.
in grade 3, I couldn't even hold a pencil and you're just painting.
I was doing like cool watercolor paintings.
That's
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. I was learning like about trying to do like depth and perspective watercolor paintings at like 9 years old. I was watching like videos on the TV. Yeah.
Mind's blown.
Yeah.
How do you? Did you used to watch that guy that was on like Sunday nights or
like
Sunday?
Bob Ross?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you had the ones with him. Is just in a room, just black background.
Yeah.
painting. He's like,
Yeah.
Now we're just going to
Yeah.
flick the mountains.
Yeah.
And he makes it look so easy.
So I actually remember which I had this like tiny little TV.
The boxes.
It was
back
like
in the day.
It was tiny. Like it was
Yeah.
a little TV like this big, and I used to I probably wasn't allowed to at that point, but I used to like go and like try and find those shows at night, like because I couldn't watch them at I had to be in bed by 7 o'clock.
Oh, they were like on at like 3 in the morning.
Yeah, so like I'd wake up and I'd try to like find them, and the little like thing of like couldn't get it. I'm like, no,
God.
like I just want to watch this. So yeah, no, crazy. So yeah, basically from a kid, like I was drawing at like 2, 3, 4 years old, everything Play-Doh, like just, and then sort of lost my creative flair for a few years there, and it wasn't until I sort of chose it as visual arts. I did it at school as well. Not that I really attended or was very dedicated to anything during school. I was very dedicated to sport actually, but art wasn't really.
What sports did you play?
Everything. I did running, aths, tennis, like I did touch rugby, girls footy.
Were you one of those people that's like naturally good at every sport?
Oh, look, basketball was definitely not my strong
no,
point.
I
Have you
cannot-
seen my height?
Cannot get that down.
But yeah, no, I'd like to say I was pretty good. Like I even like touch rugby, obviously, like I'd, look at the size of some of the other opponents and I'd just be so quick on the field. I'd just like run away from everyone.
Like a rabbit.
I was, really, really quick. So yeah.
You were better, were you a better like drawer or painter? Because I personally, like I did visual communications in high school. Like I loved that. I loved drawing more on the architecture side.
Yeah.
But I could not paint to save my
Yeah.
life. I could draw really, really
There's
well.
a big
There's
difference.
a huge
Huge
difference.
difference. Massive
So were you
difference.
better drawer or painter
Better drawer initially.
initially?
And now I can't draw.
It's
I'm
crazy.
not
It's
even
either like
joking.
one
Like, I
or
can't
the
draw.
other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I was good drawer, and then the transition to painting was like the hardest and the most frustrating thing I've ever done in my life. Like just because you love it so much and you're trying so hard to love it, and then you hate it and you're like, oh, this is so frustrating. And then now when I try to draw, I can't draw. Like people think I'm joking when I say that,
It's completely different.
but I actually can't. Like I can't just sketch, and I look at some people's sketches and I'm like, oh my God, like they can just sketch from their head as well. I definitely can't do that.
I was going to say something and I went to blank.
So 10 years ago, you started getting into it again.
Yeah, so 10 years ago, I mean, I did quite well at it at school, and I really enjoyed like the folio aspect of it. I didn't really love like the essay writing and the history as much as I knew that it was important, especially for like gathering inspiration and figuring out where I wanted to go with it. But it was very old school teaching methods, at school and with even at university. We'll get into that. I never wanted to go to uni. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I sort of was like, oh, is sport going to be a go? Maybe I'll be a policewoman, because I just was really feisty and I loved getting in fights. And I was like, maybe I need it, which is wrong reason, completely wrong reason to be getting
Police brutality.
Yeah. But no, that quickly I was like, nah. And now I like don't have an angry bone in my body. So it's, definitely shifted there. Then I was like, oh, do I want to be a nurse? Like I used to watch all those shows. Now I can't even watch them. All the gory blood stuff. I'm like, ugh. Far out. Wanted to be a chef. And then I did okay at school. Like I was, look, my teachers didn't hate me, but I wasn't the greatest kid. Like I just was quite naughty and a bit of a tomboy, and I sort of just got caught up in like, tormenting people. So not like bullying, but just try to be the joker in the class kind of thing. So I did quite well at school, and I was like, oh, maybe I should go to uni,
use my potential,
do the thing that, you know, the next step
Yeah.
sort of thing. So I was like, oh, I want to do, like, I was really interested in like health and fitness at that point in time. And I'd done like a personal training vet course, like a sport and community rec. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do health sciences, like, because I think I got like nearly 90 as an end to school, and I was like, what the
yeah,
just
I didn't even
what?
try that hard.
I think I got like 80, 89 or something, and I was just like, what the hell? Like, maybe I do have some brains. Like, I'd never really like thought, and not that that defines anything, but I was just like, oh, okay, probably should give it a shot and see what we can do. But in saying that, I like science and maths, like I was so bad at, and then I decided to do health science. So I just remember like being in class at uni, being like, this is so fun, but I have no fucking idea what I'm doing. Like, and just, yeah. So, but anyways, my parents actually encouraged me to do a double degree. So I ended up doing visual arts and, is that what it was? Yeah, visual arts and health sciences. So it was like completely black and white.
Yeah.
But I hated studying art, loved studying health sciences, but built up my, I guess my art along the way. And I was working 2 jobs, studying full time and painting.
So there's 2 things that I want to take from that and dive into next is one, obviously like the time management aspect and like just sort of doing what has to be done to get where you want to be.
Yeah.
That's one. And the second thing is that, again, I heard in a previous video of yours saying that your professor, teacher, I don't know who it was, literally pulled you aside and said, hey, you're pretty much going to fail. Yeah. And like you said, they had no idea that you're building this huge brand and business in the back end that could like shit on all of what they're doing.
Was that in your mind then, building that brand and business?
Or it sort of just happened?
Was it just happening?
It just happened. The timelines are always a bit hard to sort of like, you know, I really should have like documented everything along the way, so I have exact timelines, but it was something that evolved. I didn't sort of wake up one day and say, I want to build this brand. It would definitely evolved, and I still had my doubts, like even finishing uni and being like, oh, you're going to fail. Like looking back now, I'm like, ha ha ha, like, you know, but at that time I was like, oh, you kind of get caught up in like, I need this, like that, you know, I need to do this. Like I need this job. I need this uni degree. So I think, yeah, it definitely wasn't a click of the fingers. It was something that did just sort of develop and evolve. But of course, back then I was just like, oh, you know, I've just spent 5 years doing this degree and they're going to fail me my last semester, and you have plans to sort of move on and not be stuck at, you know, for another 6 months at university. Mm-hmm. So yeah, a good laughing point now, but definitely something I was a bit like, ooh.
So you still had your doubts in uni about your art
100%.
career? Because there's you know, I've heard it before and you hear it in movies and stuff, and like how like art in university is just sort of like there's no
the basic. It's like, oh, I'm just doing arts.
Like I'm just doing an arts degree. And
yeah.
Like there's no.
It's almost shit upon.
And I think one thing that's amazing about your career to date is how you've turned that and adapted that with the world.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I think, as I mentioned before, like they are quite old school in their methods. No, I think we need, like, we do need to learn the traditional methods of artists and how they became back then, like, and how they grew and evolved. But in saying that, like, I don't believe that they've adapted and they've really been like I've learned everything about murals and everything on my own. Like there's a lot, you know, about marketing, and there's a lot about, and even in school, like we don't learn, you know, about investing and finance and anything like that.
That's a whole other podcast.
I think we need those skills, and they are beneficial, but whether or not, and you can't cover everything, I get that, but whether or not they need to shift and sort of like incorporate maybe the more important things that will be the stepping stones in life.
Stop teaching us about World War II, please. Seriously.
But yeah, I don't regret going to uni. I think it's like, you know, definitely a part of the journey, but I think because it was such a lonely journey and I didn't have them at university being like, this is what you can do with your brand and this is what you can do as an artist. It was just like, let's just look at what other artists have done in the past and copy their work. And I still didn't know if I was going to make it, because I was pretty much being still told that, you know, artists are starving and you only make money when you're dead and da-da-da. Yeah. So that's why, you know, I had multiple, I guess, factors as to why, like, I wasn't really.
Self-doubt.
Yeah, yeah. I
can speak on, like, I don't know about you because you're still studying a little bit, but I know personally in my degree, you're 100% right. They don't teach you how to take what you've learned and turn it into a monetary thing, like a business thing. It's just like, for example, again, I did sports science. It's like, cool, this is how the body works. These are all the muscles.
It's very, sorry, I'll jump in. I agree. It's very in the box.
What am I meant to do with this knowledge?
Yeah.
It's very in the box stuff.
Yeah.
What am I meant to do with this knowledge? Like, cool, they taught you how to paint. It's like, all right, now what?
Yeah.
Do I just paint and just paint it in my room?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I sort of got, I guess, like they weren't, the reason I didn't tell them about like my business and everything is because I know that they would have been like, oh, that's so commercial what you're doing. Like you need to do this. And yeah. So that's why I just kept it all under wraps. Like I didn't say anything. Everyone's like, what do you mean you didn't tell your teacher?
And one thing I wanted to ask on that, like when you sort of blowing up, was it like you sold one and a lot of people saw it, or was it like you just started posting sort of and like it just sort of blew up? Was it like, what was the big turning point in your business that went, oh my God, this is blown up?
How did that all get going?
Yeah, what was the blow up point?
Everything.
Yeah, so Instagram was definitely a massive part in it, and Facebook. At Facebook at the time, probably more so. But at the start, I literally, so like we're talking like 10, 12 years ago now, I literally like was giving away my paintings for free. Like I was just like either charging for like the canvas and not even the paint, or literally it would have been like a couple of bucks an hour. Yeah. When I, so that, and then I was just posting it, and obviously word of mouth got out, and I was just taking on anything and everything to just try and develop my skills. But I guess there wasn't like one moment that it blew up. I sort of just kept like charging more and more
chipping
and more
away.
And I would just chip and just grinding, and like it was just hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. And then I guess like a pivotal moment was like meeting The Rock. I was like, okay, someone of this, who's achieved this much of this caliber, has noticed my work, and maybe that's its sign. Like
biggest movie star.
Can we touch on that? So how did that happen? So you painted that for, I think you said a friend of yours.
Was that your first interaction with someone of like on that level?
Oh yeah. Like you grow up.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, walk us through this. So
yeah.
How did it happen?
So I was painting a piece for a client, and then I just put up on Instagram. Instagram was definitely easier to navigate back then, but and I wasn't really, I don't think like I was like really like desperate for his attention or anything. It's just kind of like I was just doing these pieces, and I was like, yeah, oh, anything, whatever.
I'll tag him, see what happens.
Yeah, and so he saw it, and then it was a bit of a ripple effect from there that I just basically did a piece to say thank you for him like stopping and seeing my work. And I was traveling to America anyway, and I took that with me, and I met him there. So it's, yeah, it wasn't like meeting him in itself. It's more just like the fact that he stopped and was like, oh, okay, like, yeah, like there's millions of people in this world. It's
but that's the beauty of
insane
art.
Yeah.
Because, it's, and your paintings like are phenomenal.
I was like really digging through like your content and all the, like one of the things, correct me if I think it might have been Pop Smoke, where he's like got his finger in his mouth showing the grill. And like the detail in the grill, I was like,
guys who are listening, like your paintings are phenomenal. They, when you see an artist, sometimes they do a self-portrait and you're like, fuck, that's really good.
Yeah.
The ears are disproportionate a tad, but it's a really good painting. Yours are like it's just like you just printed it on there. Like
I was speaking before, literally just like 10 minutes before you came, like if she has drawn painted some huge wall. I'm like, how do you proportion these things so well?
Yeah.
Like the guy's eyeball was this big on the wall. It's like, how do you proportion that? It's like,
yeah.
Is it in your head or do you pre-plan?
No, there's definitely a lot of planning that goes into it. There's some artists that can do that, and shout out to them because like I'm not built like that. But there's a lot of planning in terms of like the design process, and then sort of not like scaling the wall, but like figuring out how you're going to approach it if it is that size, and site visits, like multiple site visits to figure out the logistics and how you're going to approach it. And then if I can project, I will sometimes project, but generally those large scale ones I can't. So you use something like called a lazy grid or a scribble grid, and you basically mark like random markings on the wall, transparent the image over that, and then you use that as a guide to
almost like a tattoo type thing.
No, because they have more of like you then have to go in and do the outline and basically connecting the dots, and it's like a big puzzle really, just like piecing it all together.
This is more like smaller scale, bigger scale.
I thought that like for big murals and stuff on walls, they would have done sort of what graphic designers do. Like if they're going to wrap a car or something, they'll get the image, sort of scale it to the size of whatever the car is or whatever, and then you go, no, this has to be here. This is X amount of centimeters long, and you sort of paint it
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
You can do it like that. There's something called pouncing where like you're using like sheets of paper and there's like A1, A2 and like you've got to get that right and you sort of and then you put like charcoal and it gives you like the outline. But if you like say for example out in Cranbourne I did a corrugated iron wall and you can't use that on there and you basically just do a grid and you scale up from that.
My brain hurts.
So that's how that's crazy. So The Rock was phenomenal. How did Arnold? What happened with Arnold?
Oh my God! See if I can talk and tea at the same time.
And I saw that you
That's actually a really good job.
Yeah, I didn't spill it this
Do
time.
you like it with the sugar or without?
Should I try it with the sugar?
Oh, you haven't tried it yet?
No, I haven't.
You just flick that
How do
little
you use
I don't
the
know.
blue thing at the bottom.
For-
Tip it upside down.
For the audience listening,
Tip it. Yeah. Go again. Go no. Squeeze it again.
What's this sorcery?
Yeah. Just take that.
No, I'm determined to get this. Is it coming out the bottom?
Yeah, like you just squeeze that. And you just
Hang on.
for everyone listening,
Oh, we got one.
There
We
we
got
go.
one.
Yeah, the girls.
Yeah, for everyone listening, you were saying.
yeah, we just because we had it with Roland as well.
Yeah,
We're drinking the tea that we drink
I can
during
see
the
lemon
podcast.
in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yum.
Anyway, so Arnold.
Yeah, Arnold.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. Go. No, I'm concentrating now. See, I can't multitask.
I wanted to ask about because when I watched that video, you were in the Do You Even booth. So is that like did Eddie's reach out to you saying, oh, like we know you've got the painting, or like are you a part of the Do You Even community, or how did that work?
Yeah, no, Edis reached out and he was like, do you want to do like a live painting? And
Oh, so you painted that there?
yeah.
Oh, wow. I thought you brought it with you.
No.
Wow.
So I painted that live over that weekend and we actually chose a black and white photo, which I don't actually know how I did that. And then I changed colour by eye, like live. Like, so I just made it colour out of a black and white. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I sort of look back.
bother on
Just going to say well done.
Thank you. Yeah,
So it's hard enough for me to draw a
Stick
3-point perspective house. And
yeah, so that was a good challenge because I was like, I hadn't done that before. I'm like, no, we'll make it work. Yep.
And then, so obviously he came, he signed it then and there.
Yeah.
And then you did another one. Was it he reached out and wanted the mural?
Yeah, so he actually wanted to buy, like, because he said, can we buy it? Can I buy that at that point? And I think Edis was giving it away. So we were like,
Sorry.
I was like, you've just said no to Arnold. Like, you're like, no, you can't buy your own
I want the painting.
which was fantastic. And then and there, he said, like, we're going to reach out. And they did like that.
It's unbelievable.
Imagine
Yeah.
just seeing Arnold in your DMs, just, hey, bro, when are you coming to see me? I want my painting. Just like,
Yeah, so they were pretty quick on that. And amazing cause, After School All Stars is his charity, and they basically work on getting kids off the street after schools and putting them into programs.
huge. That's so good.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah. Long story short, so and for me back then, like I came from a really good family, and I still managed to end up in some trouble on the streets after school. So hearing that,
could
I could
resonate with
resonate
it.
with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's so important, especially when there's single mums out there working and they
They're trying.
they're trying, but
Troubled teens.
How? Yeah. So amazing, and I think it sold for. I always get this wrong. I think it's like $13,000 US.
Wow.
So
Huge.
it was about 20 grand at that
Wow.
time.
Huge. That's
Yeah,
huge.
and so we walked into. I went with my partner, and we sort of like got a car there, and there was like one security checkpoint, and there was like another
At his
security
house?
checkpoint.
Jeez. How
Yeah.
big is his house?
You don't blame them.
Give us like a rough
Yeah.
estimation.
You don't blame them.
Was it like the
Oh.
length of the street type thing? Like huge?
Do you know what? It's not as big as what you'd think. He
Arnold's house
Yeah,
would be.
no,
like-
it's quite like okay compared to what we live in. Yeah, it's huge, but it's kind of like a ranch style, so it's really I like it. Like the pool's not like an infinity pool stretching for 100 meters. It's just like a little humble pool.
It's not
you know?
overdone.
Yeah.
He does have like 12 bedrooms, like MTV Cribs.
Oh, he
type.
probably still has 12 bedrooms. I don't know. There was security everywhere, so you couldn't walk through like the bedrooms and stuff, but you could like walk into
Imagine
the
having
house, the
security
kitchen.
in your
and-
house, bro.
I don't think it'd be all the time. I think
Just this
Yeah.
guy standing there like.
No, I think he would have
all the time.
I think, because there's like I think they said that his security is like old Iranian military or something like that.
Yeah, mint.
Yeah. So they have like one little hut, like at the, and then like another one. So they would have that 24/7.
Arnold, if you're hearing this, please respond.
This bloke, please respond.
It was just so wild. Like you come from Australia and like that's non-existent, and then like me and Luke are like just packing our dacks. Like we're like, like what are we doing? There's like
Scott Morrison that just lives in like Mulgrave.
I was on the list. Like we couldn't find Luke's name on the list, and we're just like, and we had to send like ID and everything as well before. Yeah, crazy. Yeah, so it's just wild. Like one of those experiences that you just sort of like laugh at. You're like, how the hell do I end up here?
Then you've got that. Then you got Keanu Reeves just catching economy class on the plane.
I love that.
He's awesome.
Yeah, that's so cool.
I think the biggest thing we can take from everything that's just been said is like, no matter what industry you're in, if you're a business creator, entrepreneur, whatever it is, like just keep going.
Yeah.
And something eventually is going to click, blow up.
Yeah.
You're going to meet someone, you're going to speak to someone.
Yeah.
So
it's putting in the work and knowing that it has to be put in.
Yeah.
Eventually it'll pay off.
It's definitely not a click of the fingers, and it is, it's you can't rest on your successes or your little wins. You just got to keep going. It's like it's a constant growth, and it's constant hard work. It's essentially what it is.
We found that out through this journey on the podcast so far, and we're just constantly learning, developing, growing, figuring out things.
Like
that
I've never heard the word pounce in terms of art, and now I just learned what that is. So like, one thing we did want to, obviously, because we're all about again growing, development, whatever it might be. So in terms of art, like I know like every industry you can do like some sort of upskilling course and stuff, but like you said for art, you said that you learn everything yourself. Like is there like upskilling courses and stuff, or like what upskilling have you done in terms of art and like? Or
were you just born a freak?
Is it one of those things where you're just good at it? Because like how do you teach someone to just paint better? Like how does that work?
No, so there's not a lot. I think this is where I'm sort of saying that there's like a lot of missing parts to these degrees and these courses. And that's another reason why I'm working on building. It's forever. It takes me forever to do this. I'm just trying to figure out how I want to do it. And I'm building an online platform to sort of try and fill those gaps.
Swallow, that's awesome.
It's a lot of work, and it's one of those things that's like, oh, do I have the capacity to do this along with everything else? We're like, no, we got this. Just keep doing it. Keep going. It's going to be so worth it. And because like I know it's taken me 10 years to get here, I still have so much to learn and so much to so much growth. And if I can help like a few artists along the way, maybe not make the same mistakes or, take as long to sort of hash out the shit essentially that has taken me 10, 12 years to do, then, that's like, I feel like, that's my purpose. Yeah. And that's why I sort of keep going, doing what I'm doing. But yeah, in terms of courses and things like that, it's all been through learning. Like and just time, like hard work. Reassess, like where do I want to go? Like, and it's just constant. And that's what I say to people when they're like, oh, but you're so talented. And I said, but I wasn't born like painting like this. Like I could
get better and better and better and
like
better.
I look at my paintings and I'm like, oh my God, what were they like? And it's literally just developing the skills and just hours and hours and hours and hours and dedication and passion to do it. You need to love 100%. It as well. You need to love it to like to overcome all those road humps and speed humps and but I do feel like there's definitely a gap there to have murals. Like, where do you start?
Yeah.
There's so much involved. Like I remember going to my first one and just like crying because I was like, what the hell have I got myself into? And people don't realize, you're painting someone's house. Like you're painting someone's wall, you know? If you get paint on the floor, like who's responsible for that? If you get paint on like the walls, like I've got plenty of stories about that. But yeah, and all like the logistics, all the equipment and everything, like where do you start?
So then again, that's the thing people don't think of. They just see the painting like, oh, that's great, fantastic. Yeah. Not those things at all.
Yeah. No
not the little
idea.
things.
No idea. No.
Like
yeah.
You literally just said it there, and this is something we'd heard you say previously we wanted to touch base on is you said, where is it? If you try and like force your obviously, like you said, it's really good to be passionate about what you do and find your groove and find what you love. You said if you try and force your passion too much, it can actually give like you that bad relationship. And you said one thing you were scared of is turning your passion into a job, because obviously most people have a negative association with the word work. Yeah. So that's one thing we wanted to touch base on, and like your thoughts and
that's a good question. That was definitely and I speak to a lot of people about this as well, when you love something so much, it is hard because like work growing up, like, you know, it was like you go to school and then you get paid like $3 an hour to work at Subway or whatever it was back then, $5 an hour. And you're like, oh, that's work. Like it's almost like a chore.
Exactly
you know,
that.
So of course I had those doubts. And at the start or the beginning, I knew that I had to make those compromises that perhaps didn't protect my passions. So now I'm in a position where I can say no and set boundaries to be able to create for, you know, many years to come. But in saying that, of course, there's days where I don't like, you know, I don't like it. I'm not enjoying it. There's difficult clients. There's chasing payments. It's a business essentially. So I think, you know, you've got to do the hard yards, and there's going to be periods in your journey where you question it, you doubt it, you don't like it. But I think if you're, you know, you're there for the right, like your intentions are there, you're there for your passion, your purpose, there will be at some point where you can pick and choose, and then that way you're just creating the work, and then you're protecting that passion, you're protecting that purpose, and you know, you're saying no to, you know, oh, I'll give you $100,000 to do this. Well, I don't like the person you are, and I don't like how you've spoken to me and my team, so I won't be working for you. Oh, but you need me. Well,
yeah.
No, I don't. No. Like this is something I love, and this is something I want to be doing for many years to come. So, yeah. And that's not to say you need to make those compromises. It's definitely, if you're like, nah, like don't want to do that from the get-go, and you're sitting there twiddling your thumbs waiting for work, I think you'll know when that time is right, when you can make those calls. Yeah. But it is still something, you know, like, I mean, it used to be my outlet. I used to, you know, sort of paint for hours and get lost in time. Now I still need other outlets, because there's so much going on. Self-inflicted, you know, like I've got so many moving parts to my business, and there's always a lot going on. There's a lot of clutter up here in my mind. So, you know, I need to meditate. I need to go to the gym. I need to do things for myself. So and you'll just find other outlets as well, and you'll still enjoy it, but it's so shit. It's life.
It's like you read what we have here, because like you're touching on everything we want to get.
Because one of the ones we're going to say is, has there ever been a point in your career that you're passionate about where you've just sat back one day and just like, I can't do this anymore. Or it's just getting
like there's too much.
All the time.
The next part to that question
is like the work-life balance.
Is how, all right, first of all, we'll touch on that, but what do you tell yourself in your head? And I think you've answered it in terms of like, if you're passionate about it, what do you tell yourself in your head when you've got those days where you're like, I can't do this anymore?
How do you keep moving forward?
How do you keep moving forward? How do you keep pushing when you've got so much building up, especially in an industry where you have to be so creative and your head has to be, and correct me if I'm wrong, your head has to be clear when you're working.
Yeah.
How do you move from that?
What was the first question again? Because I'm going to touch on that, but
has there ever been a point in your career where there's too much mentally, physically?
Yeah. Honestly, on average, I face those battles weekly. And that's not even
thank you for that, because a lot of people don't even honestly I'm being thank you for saying that, because
we want to normalize that.
People don't say that
on
a weekly basis.
My God, so no,
like, it's not like that at all.
Weekly, like that just gave me goosebumps, like saying it out loud, because I think
we appreciate it. Thank you.
No, but like you look at social media, they're the highlights. And you know what? I'm not going to go on and social media like this happened with this client, and I'm very, very cautious of the fact that there's a lot of negative stuff going on in the world. You know, I don't like my feed, and what I put out is all about positive vibes. So, but when I get on
Instagram, you're always smiling.
And you know, like if someone's having a bad day and something I post, or, you know, a piece of work they connect with, you know, they can resonate with, it cheers them up, like my job's done. So, but when I have these opportunities to say, like I have weekly, sometimes daily, sometimes long periods of times where I'm just like, why am I doing this? Can I just go get a job and work a 9 to 5?
Wow.
And it's like sometimes I'm driving, like I'll drive home, and, you know, and you push through, like, so to get through it, like I'm just like, you know what? Tomorrow's a new day. You know, put things in perspective. I'm so grateful to be facing these challenges. There's a lot of people who ride through life and don't even get to approach these challenges. Like they live, you know, a quite not like normal life, but perhaps they've never had to make a difficult decision which could send their career one way or the other way.
Standard, like going through the motions, 9 to 5.
Exactly. Yeah. And so, I remember I had to make some really difficult decisions in the last few years, and I'd be standing in the shower and I'm just like riddled with anxiety and nerves, and just saying to myself, Danielle, like, you are so fortunate to be a woman who is making these difficult decisions at 29 years old. Like and so instead of just being like, oh my God, this is so hard. Like, why is this happening to me? I'm like,
perspective.
Let's just shift it and say it's hard, but I'm like so fortunate to be like challenged by this. Like,
gratefulness.
Yeah.
Sure.
It is gratitude. Like, people bang on about it, gratitude, but that's like a different form. Like, there's different forms of gratitude,
100%.
And yeah, I just have to give myself little pep talks. And like, even last night, I'm like,
fucking G.
Yeah, you have to. Like, I was like, I need to finish this collection. I've got a team that I will let down if I don't. Like, I've got, without discipline, there's no freedom. I'm written on my leg. I often look at that. I'm just like, you like, keep going. Like, you just keep going. Like,
the most simple way I put it is like, for any business, whether it be an artist, whether it be real estate, whatever it might be, it's like, if you're busy, it's the best way to put it is like, it's a good problem to have.
Yes.
It's like, if you're comfortable, you're not developing.
Yeah.
Not even that, but it's like, if you're stressed out because you've got so much work to do, it's like, again, you get upset, but it's like, fuck, like, this is a good problem to have. Like, some people would dream to be this busy in my field, and be making this money. It's like,
and I found out the hard way recently, because my fucking work's been full on, and we've been trying to develop and grow this. And I'm gonna be honest with you, like, hearing you say that at where you're at in your career is
it's like, we got to up our game.
No, it's not up our game, but it's so comforting to know that people are people.
Yeah.
We all go through it.
We're not.
But I guarantee you, if you speak to The Rock and you speak to anyone at whatever level they are, it does not change.
Can you help us book in a chat with him?
It does. The level of stresses and the level of, I guess, like those feelings will be
not bigger,
but they will still go through the same.
Imagine trying to film the Fast and Furious and you're just like tired, like, I don't want to get up today.
Yeah, they would. It's like, you put them on a pedestal, like, they don't go through that. They're going through all of the life things that we all go through.
Literally on a bigger scale.
On a bigger scale. And all of it is relevant to where you are and to where. So it's all the same feels, and your problem may not be any smaller than mine. Like, it's all relevant to where we are, and it is context is exactly so. Yeah, and I feel like you just develop this resilience and thick skin and things that, the more, I guess, roadblocks that you do overcome, you will look back and be like, something that stressed me out last year doesn't even chip my shoulder now.
Yeah.
So your tolerance and your, I guess, ability to overcome will just become stronger and grander, and that is growth in itself. And if you can look back and say, okay, things that affected me this time last year wouldn't even bother me now, you'd be like, I'm not in the same place as last year, and you win no matter what you've achieved. Like, you so
that's awesome. Thank you so much for that. Really,
that's
really
all
the ability to persevere, just continue. Like, you literally just build, like, it's literally like what David Goggins said. Like, you're literally just building calluses, like you do in the gym.
You do.
Your brain builds calluses to fear obstacles. You just get better at sort of breaking through those barriers. That's what it is, really. And
just laugh it off. Like, like the last few months, I've.
How good's comedy? Like, just using.
You have to, though.
Like, laughing to. I use laughing as a coping mechanism all the time.
Yeah. In the most messed up situations, I find myself laughing. I've
had some messed up situations, and I've used comedy for it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
You have to. You have to. No, I mean, the problem is I feel like I stress out a lot of people around me because they're watching me just go through all this, and I'm just like, and then like my family especially, like they're sort of in the, like I came off the back of like 120 hours. I hadn't had a day off in like forever. I'm good now. Like, I'm back this week. I'm like, ding, 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 I'm on. Like, she's back. I'm present. I'm here. But
how good are those days too?
But I was stressing out everyone around me.
120 hour weeks?
That was 120 hours in 10 days. Straight. Yeah.
Unreal.
But but I was fine. Like, but everyone around me was obviously watching me, and I'd had a few, and I'd had a few like comments, and there was another opportunity that arose, and everyone was like, "Don't do it," and I was like, if I'm going to have one little thought that like I shoulda, coulda, woulda, I'm like, I'm going to do it. So I did it and I just loaded myself up like that, doubled down again. And I was like, I was just like, I'm fine. Like, I'm good. Like, as long as like you're not stressing me out, that like you're thinking that I'm stressed, like I'm good. Like everyone, and like I can't complain because it's choices at the end of the day. Like and as you said, it's grateful to be in that position, to be that busy. Like, how can you not take it?
100%.
Especially with the last few years that we've been through. Like.
Absolutely.
Doubling down on that, if we want to talk about being super busy and stuff, it's like, and I know you're big on work-life balance.
Yep.
So it's like, we know that you don't watch TV.
Yeah.
Which is completely fine because I don't even remember the last time I
don't either.
looked at my TV.
Okay, interesting. Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
But
which is odd for people our age as well.
Yeah.
Yes, very odd.
Again, like I've never watched. I know you watched one TV series. I heard on your last.
I watched a few.
And then you fell asleep.
I watched it. Yeah, so I did watch a few in like the lockdowns. I'm like, oh, and then I just was just like, how do people do this? Like,
so
it's
boring.
It's like a deep dark hole that you just like dive in.
Yeah, and you get stuck and consumed.
Like you just go down that thing, and then like one of those actually. Oh, those things. Do you know those? Yeah, do you know those things in the sink, like the
garbage dispenser? No,
yeah.
what? No.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, they chop everything up.
Yeah, the garbage
I thought you were
dispenser.
talking about like when the water goes down the drain. It goes,
No. We're talking like next level, like
eat, like just eats you.
Like I'm pretty sure in movies
if
they
you put
like
your
put
finger in there, it
people's
cuts
hands
your
in there.
fingers
Yeah.
off. Oh, you don't watch
Yeah.
movies? You literally.
Yeah, like
But,
I remember like back in the day watching those things that's what series are. Like that's how I see them.
There's two series that I make time for. Actually, I don't make time for. It's like
if you have a spare minute.
If I have a spare minute,
Yeah.
or those really days like I'm sick, I'm just in bed, or I have a day where I just
chill out. Everyone need them. You all need those days.
There's only two shows I watch, which is Power and Peaky Blinders.
My perspective on it is, it's like if I've got spare time, I'm either gonna nap.
Yep.
I want to be productive.
Yep.
So it's like I don't see the point, and I get bored. I have like attention span of like Dory from Finding Nemo.
Yeah,
So I get distracted super easy.
If I remember like watching a movie with my partner, like I will go like he'll be like, "You even watching this?"
No, I'm not. I'm bored. So like that's my perspective. Like, if I've got spare time, I'm either gonna sleep, or like just see a friend, or like be productive. So it's like for you, what is it like? Is it like you don't have the time to watch it? Like you don't enjoy it? Is it like?
Yeah, I that's sort of the page that I'm on. Like I kind of just get agitated because in my head I'm like, I could be doing this, I could be doing this, I could be doing that, I could be doing this.
There's always something to do.
And I always feel like I'm running out of time. So I'm like, why am I going to sit there and like just what? But in saying that, if it is like, I love watching docos and I love watching.
But they're like a tad educational.
Yeah, something that I'm like, okay, I took something from that.
Exactly.
I got something from that. And there's some like really cool movies that you do take like lessons from. I'm not saying that. And I think I'm not like shredding people who do watch TV at all, because I think it is a really good way to switch off as well.
Yeah.
So if I like make that commitment to switch off and watch a movie with the family or something, I'll try and like make that commitment, put the phone away, and it's like a time where I'm just like trying to switch off.
Because that's someone's art.
Exactly. And no guarantee that, my head's not going at a million miles an hour still. Sure. But at least I'm trying to, So I get why people do, but I just feel like I can, me personally, I can do more with my time. Yeah.
No, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
So how do you balance work, personal life, family, partner, the amount of work you're doing? You just said you did 120 hours.
10 days.
How do you...
Is that just like genuinely allocating time? Or is it sort of just like, cool, today I really feel like shit. I sort of just need like a couple of hours to just do nothing in the morning. Like, let's just say you normally get up at like 6, 7 a.m., meditate, go to the gym, and then start painting. Yeah. It's like, cool, today I'm going to get up at 10, have a coffee, get some breakfast till 12, and then I'll start painting.
Do you tell your family?
I'm going to have a heart attack when I have like, if I see the clock and it's 10 a.m. Even on a weekend, I'm like, I did sleep till 9 last Sunday. That was nice. So
sleeping?
Yeah, that's a sleep in for me. 9 a.m. is like
it is.
That is a sleep in. Like that
I got up at 6:30 this morning. I was like, this is mint.
Yeah,
the longest
I know.
Because I'm up at 4:30 throughout the week every morning. So I'm like, 6:30 sick.
Yeah. So look, work-life balance. I think I've gotten it down, the sleep thing down pat, and I've definitely know that family, friends, everyone's very, very understanding. I think I've accepted that when I'm on a mural and my schedule is like that, I actually do not have the capacity for anything else. Like, it's almost like I was speaking to a friend, shout out to Brit if you ever listen to this, she's a fighter, Muay Thai fighter, and she just had a fight on the weekend, and she kept saying, sorry, like I've not been present. I said, I totally get it. Like, it's a different kind of marathon that we've both ran, and like yours are physical and mental, and like mine's probably more like it's a bit of both, but maybe not as extreme physical. When I'm on a mural and I like I know I need to have a deadline, I need to get something done. I do not have the capacity for anything else. Like, and even I've accepted it and I've still tried to make it work, but I think I've now just like because I was speaking to my partner about it, and he's like, you're sort of not present. I'm like, I know. Like, I actually know.
That would not resonate with that.
Yeah.
That's
family,
so
partner, everything. It's like
too hard.
It's so hard. It's either it's a hard thing to comprehend because it's either you're sacrificing time of your personal growth and development, whether it's your business, whatever, or you're sacrificing time with a loved one. Yeah. And it's like,
what's the sacrifice going to be? It's going to be one or the other. What is the sacrifice
going to be? And what is it like? You know, you're going to gain more from taking that time doing that painting. Sorry,
Just get into it.
You know, you're going to.
What do you think? This is ASMR.
You know, you're going to gain time. Fuck, you threw me off, idiot.
No, but I completely know what you mean. I'm going to say something. I don't know if you've heard this term before. I don't know if I've actually spoken on a podcast before. I say you've got. Say if you put work. You've got like fitness and sort of health. You've got sleep. You've got like your partner, your love life, and you've got your family and your friends, like social life.
5 things.
I've learned you can only do 3 well. Yeah. If 3 things are and just like if you've got work, you've got sleep going, and you've like you got your health like, and you sort of like you're eating and everything.
So true.
Well, something else is going to give. You cannot do all 5. You cannot do all 5.
I'm literally doing 3. I'm doing 3. I'm definitely doing 3. I'm sleeping. I'm training. I'm eating, and I'm sleeping. Yeah, and like that's it.
If you're seeing friends, you're seeing your family.
Don't see my friends.
You've got enough time for your partner. Someone else is gonna. Not that it's completely giving away, but something's gonna be compromised.
Just don't have a partner. It makes one.
If you have a partner, they need to live and breathe and understand your work, and you have to have. You cannot have those, because I say like I can cope with my workload that I put on myself. No one else is putting it on me, as long as everything else is supportive, and
a bit of a backbone.
Not the external pressures. As soon as there's external pressures, that's when you start to not cope with those other things that you're pouring.
And it comes down to your environment, having that supportive environment around you.
Yeah. So I've like, if that helps, like I've sort of.
It does help.
It does
so much.
And I sort of, it makes you not let other things go, but when I'm working on a mural and I'm trying to still get adequate sleep so I can have that clarity to create, and, I'm still trying to sort of like say, hey fam, like, hey partner, like I'm here, like I'll sleep next to you for a couple of hours. Like I ain't gym, see you later. Like, and there's other things that we'll give. Like, you're not getting your 4 sessions in a week. You might be lucky if you, get a walk in or a meditation session in or something like that. So work-life balance, definitely I've learned that you cannot go 100 miles an hour the whole year and not see any consequences. Mm-hmm. I've learned that I need to sleep. It triggers my anxiety. If I don't sleep, it triggers mental health issues. If I don't sleep, I used to only sleep a little bit, and now I know why I was having those wild waves.
I think it's almost like a spectrum. Yeah. So it's like, let's say life is on this side and work is on this side. I feel like majority of the time, especially for people like-minded people like us, where we're trying to do a million things. It's like you're sort of sitting here for a little bit. You come back here for maybe a week, give yourself a bit of a break, bang, smash it out, bang, 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 bang. But if you're sort of sitting in the middle or like more towards like the life side, I feel like you're really capping your ability to do greater things and put in that, that work and the effort that you set these really high goals for yourself, but it's like you're sort of sitting on the mediocre side of
you can't do it all. Exactly. Something's got to give at some point. And as you said, I think that's a really cool way to look at it. Like you can sit on that work side, you come back into everything else every now and then, but if you want to keep going or where you want to be, you have to come back, push back and just keep going. So I think, having the supportive people around you and my friends, they never be like, I haven't seen you in like 6 months. Like they're not like that. Everyone's really understanding.
That's big. That's so big.
Friends and loved ones definitely.
They know if they need me, I'll be there. But like, a lot
it's not like, let's catch up. What are you doing today? Next week or this weekend. It's like, cool. I know you're busy. I know you got shit on whenever you can. Or honestly,
or they come at like one of my friends, like she sat with me until 1 a.m. last night paint, like, because I was just supposed to go for dinner. I'm like, you know what? I can't. Like, do you want to come? No pressure.
Watch me paint.
Have a glass of fucking wine. Whatever you
I do. I did think of that, but I don't. I have kind of like a no alcohol studio. Yeah. But I thought of that. I was like, oh,
Better not.
No, tempting. But
It
yeah,
is,
she
yeah.
could have. Yeah.
So in terms, touching on development and touching on your art career. Adapting.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit how you've moved in from your paintings into this new realm of NFTs and stuff like that.
Yeah. Wild space. Wild space. I think it's one of those things where I feel like I was a bit late to the party in Web 2, in Instagram and Facebook and that sort of new marketing way.
And early on this party.
Yeah. And I was sort of like, you know what, I don't want to be there again, and I don't want to be sort of like running around, behind people trying to catch up. So I've gotten to a point where I know I need to push my boundaries. You know, I'm always working off references and painting people who are like, you know, like giving a reference and just painting it. And I knew that I needed to push my boundaries at some point and come up with my own work. So learning of, I guess, you know, how NFTs work and giving that freedom back to creatives and, you know, sort of taking out that middleman, which is what I've always been big on. I was just like, this sounds like an incredible opportunity and also a new way to connect to your community. So I guess the digital side of it is definitely something. I mean, I've been into crypto for a few years, so I sort of grasped that was fine. But obviously NFTs is another level, and it's really just trying to explain to people that, you know, art is subjective. Our assets are subjective. Everyone values things differently. You might not value art in a digital wallet. I guess my biggest thing is I've been trying to bridge the gap between the two. And yeah, I've released 2 NFT collections so far, and they've both been one-of-one collections, and been gifting the physical artworks with the NFT.
That's sick.
So it's it's been a little bit different, and you know how that will play out in the future, I'm not sure. I guess the biggest thing now is just building my community slowly. I've committed to it. It's essentially like starting another business. Yep. But I think the beautiful part is that, like, I think looking forward into the future, I'll be able to give back directly, and you know, it'll just become another like little safe haven for people who are passionate about the same thing.
The last couple of things on that I want to touch on is, so obviously, does every NFT have to have a utility and project behind it?
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
No,
there you go.
There is you know, and that's down to the like the community, like not the community, the people behind the project, the creators behind the project. I mean, you know, CryptoPunks, they essentially don't really have any utility attached, and they're a very successful project. So I think as long as you're, I guess, like, I mean, for me, it is about utility. It's just a matter of figuring out what that will and what people see value in.
Yeah, but yours could also be sentimental as well. Like,
yes.
You're a fantastic artist. You've got your own brand. You know, you're constantly doing work and developing. So you could buy your NFT alone for the sentimental value. And like, your art is art.
Yes, and gifting that physical piece is utility, and also just having access to the creator themselves
for sure.
is
another utility in
it
itself.
Is utility.
Yeah.
Like, so obviously moving forward, I'll be looking to have like events and things like that for people to attend, and like just creating another little community. Really, it's been amazing. Yeah.
Awesome.
One thing, last thing I wanted to ask is, what's the process of actually turning like a piece of physical art into an NFT? Is like you take a photo and then scan it? Like, how does it actually get turned into it? Like,
hopefully by now our audience gets a better idea of NFTs, because we had Max on, we had Dylan on. So yeah.
What was the question again? Sorry.
How do you go? So you do the amazing painting. How does that then go and become an NFT?
So a lot of NFTs are digital art, solely digital art. So I've sort of like to torture myself and just you know, the whole work harder, smarter, not harder thing. Yeah. That's not really apply in this situation. But
do you make it on?
So I'll digitally design it, come up with the concept, then I'll paint it, and then we'll take a photo of it and turn it into a digital file.
Okay.
So I'm kind of like triple down. But in saying that, I will, of course, I need to stay true to my craft, and I need to enjoy the process. So that's why I have been doing it like that. I can of course do digital art, and I will of course sort of be looking to do some projects that will solely be digital, but I've also had a lot of fun seeing the excitement of people getting both. The next drop, which is an incredibly powerful drop. It's really a collection about people, just encouraging people and inspiring people to do more and be better, no matter what walk of life you come from, and no matter what you've been through, what illness you carry, what disease you've had,
what traumatic experience you've been through.
what trauma you've been through. So this one is a little bit more serious and a little bit more powerful, but we're actually doing something a bit different. We're like raffling the physical pieces to the audience, to people who purchase, and there also will be like physical prints, utility, and some really cool cards and things like that. So things that you can use and be like, oh, like that was from that collection, you know. And yeah, so we're doing things a little bit different, and it is a bigger collection. There's 121 pieces. So instead of it being one of ones, there's
that's awesome. I can't wait to see that.
Last thing is, so you talked about like digital. How do you find sort of drawing like on an iPad? Yeah, like an iPad or something. How do you find that?
I've at the start it frustrated me because I didn't understand how to do it. Now I'm starting to really, really enjoy it. And that was the thing. Like everyone's like, oh, do like a PFP project or a massive project, and I was like, I'm not there. Yeah. I'm not there. Like sitting on the iPad for hours and hours on end. I'm not enjoying at the moment, but now
it's almost like going back to drawing, though.
It is, and I've had to teach myself again how to draw. Like I'm like so I'm starting to enjoy it. I'm starting to really enjoy it, and I think now that's where I'll start to look into doing those bigger projects. I'm ready, and I'm not pushing it, and I'm not seeing the dollar signs and just doing it for the sake of doing it.
That's huge. I think that's one thing we could wrap up on is saying that dollar sign, especially if you're doing something you love, whether it be art, whether it be real estate, whether it be floorboards, whatever it is. Like if you're doing something you love, stop looking at the dollar figure, especially initially.
Yeah, you'll never get it. You'll
immediately lose the love for what you do if you're just looking at the dollar sign figure.
No, remember why you started.
Exactly.
Like when people were just like, oh, you know, you're in NFTs for the money, and I was like, if I was an artist for the money, like who in their right mind 10 years ago would have been like, I'm going to become an artist for the money? It is a known fact that it is one of the hardest careers to actually overcome and like to make any money of it. So if you think I've been here for the money yes, now I'm making a really great living out of what I'm doing, 100%. But it never started for that reason. And I'm still like, that's why when I did, you know, my NFT collections have done well. I'm just like, yeah, like it's not about the
it's like a bonus almost.
This collection you're bringing out now too is literally based off people going through things.
Yeah, exactly. And there's so much more meaning behind it. Like it's about connecting to my audience and people feeling something. And like at this point in time, it's stuff that I want to be creating and people are responding to that. And that's the biggest thing for me. So yes, I'm making an amazing living out of my art now, but it's been 12 years in the making. Yeah. It's been 29 years in the making.
And people don't get that.
And people don't get that. So if you're passionate about something, do it for your passion. Don't do it for the dollar signs. Like it's not, it'll come. It'll come from
eventually.
That
Stick at it.
It'll come. Yeah. Yeah. Oh. So
I think that's a really, really good point to end on. So again, for everyone listening, if you do want art made or you want to buy some NFTs and you're already not following Danielle on Instagram, please do so at Danielle's Artwork. Again, thank you so much for coming on.
Good chat. Thanks,
so
guys.
much.
Thank you so much.
Sick value provided in everything, like whether it be upbringing, personal development, upskilling, all that sort of thing. So thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for everyone for listening, and we'll see you guys on the next episode.
Keep up the amazing work, guys. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye.